Hello and welcome to Felix's Space Time. In today's video we have an interview with Kevin from SpaceXcentric. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Can you tell me a bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Kevin. I'm 35 years old. I'm from Ohio, which is in the United States, and I'm a YouTuber. I was a science teacher. I was a police officer. I was in the military. I was a lot of things, but now I'm a YouTuber. We'll see how long that lasts. I'm married and I have two kids. They have a lot of hair because they're German Shepherds. Uh, I like movies. I like rockets. I like music, and I like to work.
What did you do before YouTube?
Before YouTube, like I was saying, I was a science teacher. I taught every science class you can imagine, from 12th grade anatomy all the way down to like 6th grade STEM. I did that for a few years before doing YouTube full time.
What would you like to achieve with your YouTube channel?
Really, from the very start, there were two things I wanted to achieve with my channel. The first was I just wanted to use it as an outlet for things I was excited about, because I love rockets so much. That was one of the things I started my YouTube channel for. Actually, the biggest thing was rockets, and I love talking about rockets, and it was just an avenue for me to kind of vent off that extra excitement to anyone who would listen. And then the other thing is to just reach as many people as possible and hopefully get them excited as well. Uh, that's basically it. I don't care if my channel booms. I was just as happy doing it when I only had a few hundred subscribers as I am now. But yeah, as long as I'm reaching some people that find it exciting, I'm happy.
When and how did you get interested in space?
Um, I've always been a fan of space since I was a kid. Like most kids, I wanted to be an astronaut when I grew up. I was actually in the Air Force ROTC for a whole like few weeks before I decided Navy was the way to go. And my avenue was hopefully to become a pilot and then become an astronaut. But like everyone else, aspirations and motivations change, and I decided to go a different route. Um, but it's awesome to know that even though I'm in my mid 30s, and any other timeline on this timeline of humanity, one would say that my ambitions, my dreams to become an astronaut are over. But what's exciting about the time that we're living in is that even as civilians, we can still be astronauts, which is being proven right now, as you know. Uh, so yeah, I've been to answer your question, I've been interested in space since I was a kid. I love building model rockets with my dad, and then I started building them by myself. And we'd start off, actually, we never really built too many kits. We would just design our own. I don't know if it's because we didn't have a lot of money, but we would just, take Christmas wrapping paper tubes and start building away and designing. And, um, you know, but like everyone else, it wasn't like my main passion growing up. Uh, I always loved the Apollo era of the 1950s and mostly 1960s. And even though I find the space shuttle fascinating and it's an engineering marvel, I was never as excited about this shuttle as I was with, say, the Saturn V. And I think a lot of people are that way. So growing up, even though I loved space, I always thought the best was behind us because, it had been decades since we had gone to the moon and we had never gotten to Mars. So I thought of my passion more as like a history thing. But once I saw SpaceX land their first Falcon 9 booster, I was all excited again. Here we are going back to the traditional vertical rockets instead of the, radially strapped space shuttles. You actually sit in a capsule on top. And I don't know why I always found those kind of rockets more interesting. And I think it might be because I'm such a huge fan of parachutes, and, Dragon uses parachutes, even though it wasn't originally designed to. But I always thought, once I saw that booster land on that drone ship, I was like, okay, this is more exciting than the Apollo days for sure. And we're actually watching rockets land and explode a lot. So once that happened, like 2015, 2016, I can't remember the exact date. That's when my passion got reignited, pun intended. And my interest in space just, increased.
What is it with SpaceX that's holding your attention? Not like other rocket companies.
Yeah, other rocket companies I still root for them. I still find them fascinating. Big fan of Rocket Lab, and I'm always interested in what ULA is up to. And I know JPL doesn't invent rockets, but I'm really a huge fan of JPL as well and the robots they build. But SpaceX to me is just an animal in and of itself, and I think most people would tend to agree. Even though Blue Origin's landing rockets, they're not orbital, and it is a whole different class in and of itself. But and I think Elon Musk, I can just relate to him more. He's more open. He's more willing to invite the public in, so we get to see more of what's going on in his thoughts because he likes to tweet a lot. And the way he tests his rockets is much different from everyone else, in that he's all about just get it out there on the test pad, let it fail. We'll learn quickly, and then we can move on to the next one. That's his main focus. And by doing that and allowing the public in, it's a genius move to win public support. And just, his eccentric personality as well, the way he communicates with people, he really doesn't care. And that's kind of how I am. If I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry, but I'm not really not that sorry. So I can kind of relate to him more. And yeah, and the stuff SpaceX is doing, like landing these huge orbital rockets, just is kind of like the icing on the cake. I think that's what sets them apart in my book, between Elon Musk himself and SpaceX's way of doing things.
Can you tell me a bit more about the Lego Falcon Heavy rocket you built?
Yeah, sure. I wish I could grab it over there, but if I do, it'll probably fall apart. So I started building that in like 2016 or 2017 while I was teaching. And I originally started building it because the Lego Saturn V came out, which is behind me right here. And that's my favorite Lego set ever. Like, I was so fascinated by that build. Just the way you put it together enthused me. And I was like, man, I wish they had a SpaceX Lego rocket. That'd be cool. So I looked around online to see if anyone had built one, or if any kind of SpaceX Lego rocket was being made by Lego, and none was, and nobody was building one. And so I was like, well, screw it, I'll just try to build one myself. And I thought, if I do it and I'm successful, then I can kind of show it off as like I don't know, like a demonstration model in my classes that I teach at school. And once I got the first iteration of it designed, I brought it in and I showed my students, and they were all enthused. They said, you should put it up on Lego Ideas. I was like, what's that? So I looked into it and I was like, oh, cool. Yeah. So I'll throw it up on Lego Ideas. And as I did, I started improving it over time. And it was the first SpaceX rocket on Lego's site to reach 10,000 supporters. And I was really proud of that. And I'm really appreciative of that. Even though it wasn't picked, Lego still gave me a choice to like get 3 free Lego sets of my choosing. So I opted to have 3 Lego Saturn V's, and I just gave those away to my subscribers. But yeah, my brother and I also built the Lego SpaceX Starship Super Heavy, and that just reached 10,000 supporters a few weeks ago. So we'll see how that works out.
Can you tell have you got any ideas on building any more Lego rockets?
To be honest with you, the Lego Falcon Heavy and then definitely the Lego Starship Super Heavy really took a lot of time and effort, and it kind of wore me out on Lego for a while. so right now I'm kind of taking a break, but I always thought it'd be cool to start building, the Mercury rockets, and the Titan, and those rockets from the early days. But we'll see. I also thought it'd be cool to build like Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket. I think people have done those before, all of the above. But just for fun for myself, I like to try that sometime.
Where, in your opinion, where do you see space travel in, say, 100 years?
In 100 years, man, that's the thing about the days we're living in. Technology is improving so fast, exponentially. So in 100 years, I wouldn't be surprised if even though Elon everyone knows Elon's timeline is Elon's timeline, which is his wishes are a lot faster than reality. But I would not be surprised if in 100 years we have at least a small colony on Mars. And by that, I mean, at least one base set up that could hold a couple dozen people, maybe be self-sufficient, not have to rely so much on drops from, transport ships. But it's so hard to tell. It could go one of two ways. Obviously, it could happen. We could be really successful, or all it takes is one mishap, and you could lose public support that easy, and it could literally never get off the ground after that. So we'll see. I mean, if we keep our vigor, like after the Apollo 1 fire did, and it kind of galvanized everyone to get behind the program and make it worth it, then we could easily have a self-sustained colony on Mars in 100 years. But if something happens, and it probably will happen, someone will probably die, unfortunately, at least one person. And if the public says this isn't worth it, then we may never get there. Who knows?
How long are we from seeing a successful landing with Starship on Mars, do you think?
Starship on Mars. Well, Elon thinks what, 2020? I'm trying to get my timeline straight. I can't remember between the moon and Mars. I can never remember if it's 2022 or 2024, but I'd say 2024 would be the earliest of my guesses. Definitely by 2026, I think we'll see a Starship land on Mars for sure.
What serial number of Starship do you think will successfully land and maybe be reused?
Man, these are good questions. Do you mean just like in the near future? Or what? Can you be a little more specific for me?
Well, when do you think a Starship will land?
Oh, when do I think it will land? Just like here on Earth, I think I always choose to be optimistic. I just think life is more fun living it that way. And then if you're let down in the end, so be it. At least you had fun along the way. So I'm going to say SN15 is going to land. First orbital rocket, SN20. Let's just go with that.
Well, that's all the questions I've got for you today. Thank you very much for coming on here for an interview.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I love your show. I've been a fan of it. I discovered it when you interviewed the Inspiration 4 guys. So keep it up. Keep up the good content.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Felix. Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.